the world of developing products for consumers, there are usually kind of three criteria that a lot of companies fixate on in order to produce the best quality product, the best kind of they want to increase their profits, they want a good product, and they want to deliver on what they promise their shareholders and whatnot. And powerlifting is quite the same. So the three criteria are optics, audibles, and mechanics. Optics means that they're going to produce a product that looks good. This is what will be what causes something to sell off the shelves. A lot of things don't necessarily need to produce very well in order to make a profit when they just look really good. Like, how many people bought Cyberpunk? That Cyberpunk, was it 2077? The graphics, when it was advertised, looked phenomenal. But everything else to do with that game ended up being a laughingstock for the video game development industry. And that this kind of parallels to powerlifting, because if you look good, you're going to get brand deals. But if you don't have anything else, if you don't have a social media following, if you don't put up videos that will get viral, whether it be you edit it really well, you're providing a good amount of information, or you're lifting heavy weights that have people interested in, well, how did he get there? What did this person do in order to do what they are doing? This is a mind-boggling amount of weight on a bar. That is the optics. In powerlifting, what happens is people focus a lot on the optics. They focus on editing their videos because, quite honestly, it is easier to get better at editing than it is to put pounds on your total. They match their entire uniform to whatever they're wearing. You've got the headband matching the singlet, matching the t-shirt, matching the knee sleeves, matching the socks, matching the shoes. And people get made fun of a lot for that, because the old school powerlifting way was, walk up to the platform, look homeless, put up big weights. Congrats, you're famous. But now powerlifting is becoming more and more commercialized. So it's getting more and more important for powerlifters to have that little optics side. Now, this isn't to say that you have to look pretty in order to gain a following, gain notoriety, and make money in the sport of powerlifting. There's not that much money to go around. But if you want there's no money in powerlifting. But if you want to make any money in powerlifting, you have to do brand deals. You have to have a product that people want to buy. And that's why everyone goes into coaching right afterwards. They put up they post their meet recap. They get a large following. They get a lot of attention. And while they're under that attention, that's the perfect time to announce, hey, I'm coaching. You've got 400% increase in follower interaction, in eyes on your product that you've produced. So might as well start coaching, make some loot. But that's not to say that you have to look pretty in order to get that increase in notoriety. You don't have to coach in order to be famous in powerlifting. Look at Peter Petras. He's got very little social media following, but everyone knows him because he broke the all-time total world record. Dan Bell took it back from him, but Dan is a similar case. He's got very little social media following. In fact, on his Facebook, he's like, I get annoyed when people post their powerlifting shit on Facebook, because like this is Facebook. This is where everyone's mom and like high school friends are. No one here is gonna get the people on Facebook give less shits than the people on Instagram. People on Instagram went out to find you. The people on Facebook are mutuals with you. So, I mean, they'll care, but it's like posting pictures of your child. No one actually cares. The second is the audible, the oral, whatever. You say you're going to do something. You promise something. You got to follow through with it. So a lot of this is the most, it's the easiest thing to do. You promise something. That's the extent of it. So in product development, a company will get a contract, or they'll have an idea and they say, hey, this is what we're going to produce. This is what it's going to do. It's going to take a set timeline, but we're gonna produce the product. And they get closer and closer to that timeline. They end up cutting corners, and then the optics and the mechanics end up cutting short because they were audibly presenting something that they couldn't follow up on. And this is prevalent in powerlifting too. I'm going to be the greatest powerlifter of all time. I'm going to beat John Hack's record. I'm going to be the next Ed Cohn. I'm going to beat Dan Belt. I'm going to be the greatest of all time. Dots. I'm going to. People will search through open powerlifting and filter the shit out of it so that they can get to the highest ranking that they can. And they promise that they're going to do stuff. But the thing about promising things, saying things, and the most important part of the three aspects of product development that I've been discussing this whole time is the mechanics of things. When you promise things and you can't deliver, you either change your promises, you make up excuses like I didn't have the meat that I wanted, or you end up cutting corners on the mechanics of things. So you promise that you're gonna be the greatest powerlifter of all time, but you're not willing to do 8 rounds of 2-minute assault bike sprints with 1 minute rest of lighter assault bike riding, all nasal breathing because it's too hard. You're not willing to do 300 air squats with a PVC pipe or broomstick because it's too hard. But you're still promising everyone that you're going to be the greatest powerlifter of all time. Bullshit. You're cutting corners on the mechanics because you are audibly saying things. If your words don't back up your actions, then they're useless. If everyone always says I'm going to be the greatest, like they're going to be the greatest, they spout out all that bullshit and then they don't deliver because, I mean, the hardest part of the big three is the mechanics. You want to present a product that's sellable. You want to say what the product is going to do. You give promises as to what this product is going to do. The hardest part is actually delivering on those promises and also producing something that is visually appealing. You want to be able to sell it. So if in mechanical engineering, there's a joke all the time that you can make anything work, but making it pretty is the hardest part. So the mechanics of things, that's the hard part. That is backing off on training, realizing my squat is not optimal. My squat, I lose 90% of my strength in squat because I get on my toes. I have knee pinch. I need to fix this. I need to fix that. My bench sucks because my elbows flare early. I'm not even thinking about when my elbows flare. They're flaring early, and I'm losing a large amount of the output that I should be producing on my bench press because my form is insufficient. A champion will look at that and they'll eat their crow. They'll take a step back and be like, I need to fix this. But if you're focusing on the optics and the audibles of everything, I want to look good. I want to post a PR every week. Larry Wheels. I want to be the greatest powerlifter of all time. I need to make more progress faster. So I need to lift more weight more often. That's not always the solution. Sometimes it's making the easier weights feel heavier that will produce a better total than making the heavier weights look easier. Because the work that you put into making those easier weights heavier, that means pushing your limits at an endurance level. That means pushing your limits at how much stress, how much fatigue that you can accumulate, how much internal stressors, how many external stressors that you can coordinate to optimize your training. It is all about doing all the hard things. That is the mechanicals. That is it is all the little things, the little Lego blocks can make your Great Wall of China total. And that's what's difficult about powerlifting. You want a product, you want to be the greatest of all time. But if you're not willing to back all that shit up, you're not going to do any of it. But powerlifting is just a fad, right? It's just a hobby. You can be 100% all of your effort into the optics, and you can make a significant following. Look at the USAPL. They are optically great, but they only have a couple of really good lifters. And then you look at multiply powerlifting. It's on the production side, it's visually a joke. But look at people like Dave Hoff and Jimmy Kolb. They're basically fork trucks. Not only are they doing things that people couldn't even fathom of doing 3,100 pounds on a total, no one's even close. Second place is 100 pounds behind him. Jimmy Kolb's bench press. The heaviest single lift in powerlifting history on a bench press using arms. Like everyone says, the legs are the big movers of everything. But the optics of multiply powerlifting is what's holding it back. People don't want to be doing multiply powerlifting because it's not visually appealing. It takes too much money in order to actually participate in multiply powerlifting. You need a lot more friends. You need a lot more help because the risk of dying while doing multiply powerlifting is incredibly high. There are very few multiply powerlifters who are able to get by without an entire training crew behind them. And then look at the optics of individual content creators. You've got like Monica Grande. She has a massive following online. She's able to attract those followers from her Instagram, from her TikTok, and bring them onto her Twitch and produce money for herself that way. That is a stream of income for her. She competes, so at least she's doing something. Her numbers aren't the most notable numbers out there. She's not number one in anything. And then you look at the greatest optics in strength sports, and that will be Lean Beef Patty. Does she do a lot of notable things? No, but she's hot. She is the pinnacle of muscle mommies. But she hasn't really done anything noteworthy in strength sports. She doesn't compete. But she has a massive following. She's able to live off of her income revenue from YouTube, from TikTok, from Twitch, because she's got that optics so optimized. She's the queen of memes. You look at the audible part of things. You've got people who don't post anything online, like Peter Petras, Dan Bell. They're still able to become popular because they've got the mechanics down. You want to produce a product that people want to interact with, buy into, produce money. It feels scummy in order to produce money in the sport of powerlifting because you have to do a lot of individualized stuff. You have to produce content, you have to produce a program, you have to produce something that's going to keep people coming back. I don't really know where I was going with this rant, but like the perfect powerlifter out there doesn't exist. Like Sam Sulek doesn't say a lot of stuff. He literally has the optics of being jacked and ripped and the mechanics. He's found a method that works for him. So he's missing that audible part, even though his voice is literally like human ASMR. But everyone right now is missing something. Either they're all in on the optics, they're missing they're all in on the mechanics, but really? It boils down to what your goals are. If your goal is to make money in powerlifting, all in on the optics. If your goal is to be really loud in powerlifting, chances are you'll be turned into a joke, but like all in on the audible part. No company that's ever spouted anything and not produced has ever really gone anywhere. So just be expecting absolutely negative things to come from going all in on the audible part. But if you want to be the greatest powerlifter of all time, if you want to actually do what people who are all in on the audible, the oral part of producing this product known as your powerlifting career, you got to go in on the mechanics. That's going to be sitting down with a coach, because the number one rule of coaching is you don't coach yourself unless you're highly experienced with decades of experience. You know your body and you know more than anyone else. There are some exceptions to that rule. Like Tom Callis coached Dan Bell for a very long time, but the last couple meets, Dan optimized. He learned, I can do this. I'm not going to hold back. I'm not using lube on myself. I'm going to be able to produce a better total because I'm going to be more in tune with where my body is, where I am. I'm going to do all the things that no one's willing to do in order to do what no one's ever done before. That's what Dan Bell did. That's why Dan Bell is numero uno, because he went all in on the mechanics. He didn't stress about what social media was doing. He didn't stress about saying bullshit all the time. He just went in, he did work, produced results. Peter Petras in the same boat. Shane Haller's in the middle of doing that too. He's his own coach right now. He just put out an ebook, which is phenomenal, by the way. You should go check it out. Link is in his Instagram bio. But, you know, whatever product you decide to lean towards, whether it's looking good or being good, you got to go all in somewhere.
I learned a lesson. Never half-ass two things. Whole-ass one thing.
Because stress sucks. You got to be able to manage your stress. So, I don't know if this rant's gotten redundant or not, but I mean, I guess this is a visual diary. Basically, gonna stop doing so much editing and just give you guys, bite the pillow, give you guys some raw Patrick for a while. But I hope you guys enjoyed what was going on. I got a bit of a flu going on right now, so we've taken a step back in training for the past couple days. The past couple days, because though you want to be able to be strong in not the most optimal conditions, having the flu is going to risk injury more than adaptation more often than not. But anyways, I gotta go to the town fair tire, because I got this flu cold thing because I was wearing shorts in freezing weather, and because I'm a hard ass and I want to flex on everyone that I work with. And then I walked outside and my tire was flat, and I spent way too long changing that tire, caught this cold, and here we are. I got the sniffles, I got congestion, I've got body aches, I got body sweats, but the world doesn't stop. And I still got to drive this car to work. So I got to get my tire fixed so I can do that safely, because safety is number one. But anyways, tell your mom I said hi. Patty out.